Pocono is losing a date. Kyle Busch gets fined for those pesky actions detrimental to stock car racing. And we've got a quick Throwback Thursday. All that and more coming up next. So news broke today that Pocono is possibly or most likely going to lose one of their Cup Series dates to Gateway Speedway in St. Louis. Gateway being a short track, Pocono being sort of its own thing, really. But it races kind of like an intermediate where it gets stretched out. I'm personally, if you can add anything close to a short track, or if you can add a short track and remove a date, I think that's good. Although I do hate it for the people of Pocono. It's a really cool racetrack if you've never been to it, and they put on a great show, and they put in a great amount of effort, like all the NASCAR tracks do, really. But so you always hate to see somebody lose a date, but gaining another short track overall, I think, is a good thing. So I'm on board with this one, at least for now. We'll see what happens. But sorry, Pocono fans, that you lost one of your dates. And the other story sort of floating around right now is that Kyle Busch is fined $50,000 for actions detrimental to stock car racing. He was not fined for his language, actually in the media interview afterwards, like Dale Jr. was when he lost 50 points and was fined a little bit of money back in the day. He was actually fined for how he drove on pit road, drove through the cones with several people standing around. And I think it is a great thing that they fined him. I only have one issue with it. There were at least 5 people there, and you're only going to fine this guy $50,000. So you're saying that each of those people's lives is only $10,000. You either need to fine him more money, but he's a multimillionaire. I don't know how much money you could really fine him to open his eyes. I think you should hit him with points. Here, let me actually say this. You shouldn't hit him with anything because you don't necessarily have a rule in place specifically for that. What you need to do moving forward is in the drivers' meeting the next weekend at this next race at Richmond, say, hey, if we see any activity like that from here on out, we're docking you X amount of points and we're fining you X amount of money. And here is why I say that, and we're going to jump into the Throwback Thursday right here. In 1987, at Riverside Speedway, Michael Waltrip and Jim Robinson made contact on pit road, and they collected some of Bill Elliott's crew members, and injured in that particular event was a guy named Chuck Hill. Now, Chuck Hill was injured, but he ended up being okay. But because Chuck Hill was injured, the Bill Elliott team had to go find a new crew member, so they held tryouts. A whole bunch of people showed up. It was this big, huge thing. People were sort of excited about it because Bill Elliott was in the points hunt that year. And so they ended up going with a guy named Mike Rich. For the rest of that 88 season, all the way to 1990, Mike Rich was a pit crew member for Bill Elliott's team. He was part of that Winston Million thing. He won the championship with them. However, at a race in Atlanta, Ricky Rudd goes, Bill Elliott's in the pits. Ricky Rudd goes to pit, and he locks up his brakes. He spins, and he slams into Bill Elliott's car again. And this was back in the day, you had no pit road speed. So he's slamming on the brakes at full speed. He slides into Bill Elliott's car, and Mike Rich ends up being pinned in between the car. He passes away from his injuries, and because of that, NASCAR changed its pit rules. That's why you have no speeding on pit road and all that stuff now. The controlled tire and all that is all a part of this part of these safety measures to protect the men and women that work on the pit crew. And so that is the reason I'm saying, yes, I'm glad that NASCAR fined Kyle Busch, but I wish they would go a little farther to show the drivers how serious that is. Look, man, I know you just wrecked. I know you're in a terrible mood. I know you want to win this championship and this race so bad. But you've got to, even though you're in a bad mood, you're pissed off or whatever, you have got to keep your emotions in check when you're driving on pit road, because you can't injure these guys working on these cars. They have wives, families, loved ones that want to see them again. And just because you're pissed off and having a bad day, you can't go flying down pit road acting like a complete fool and putting these guys' lives at danger. And I'm not trying to be, Debbie Downer and come down on Kyle Busch or Joe Gibbs or anything like that, because I know people probably think I'm picking on Joe Gibbs because of the Denny Hamlin and some of the other videos I've made. I'm not. This just happened to be the story today, and I wanted to say my piece about it. So that's all I got for you today. Sorry it's another downer, but it is what it is, man. If you like the content, please subscribe down below, and if you got a comment, leave it in the comment section. I love to read them. If you want to disagree with me, that is completely fine. I love it when you guys disagree with me, because without your points of view, I might miss something, and it might be something I need to change my mind about. So if you disagree, feel free to disagree. Couldn't get it out. All right, other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.